Hey everyone, Dr. Kem here, and welcome to today's cinematic lecture. We're diving straight into what I like to call the foundational blueprint of the universe, the empirical formula. We're going to see exactly how we can take raw experimental composition data and mathematically flip it into these beautiful fundamental ratios. It literally gives us a window into the exact elemental makeup of, well, everything around us. Let's get into it.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Cracking the chemical code. 2. Empirical versus molecular. 3. The four-step solution. 4. Finding the molecular formula. And 5. Real-world combustion analysis.
All right, part 1, cracking the chemical code. So at its core, what actually is an empirical formula? It's nature's simplest ratio. It strips away all that messy structural complexity and gives you the most basic foundational rule for a compound. It doesn't care about how the atoms are arranged in 3D space or even the total number of atoms in a single molecule. It just tells us the exact proportional relationship between the elements. So if you've got a compound made of carbon and oxygen in a 1:2 ratio, well, the empirical formula tells you exactly that. Nothing more and nothing less.
Moving on to part 2, empirical versus molecular. Now, you might be thinking, how does this compare to the actual molecules floating around out there? Look at the contrast here. Think of the empirical formula, like CH2O on the left, as your basic architectural rule. 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. But the molecular formula on the right, C6H12O6, that's the actual built structure of glucose. Glucose follows that CH2O rule perfectly. It just scales the whole thing up by a factor of 6. And here's the crazy part. Totally different substances, like formaldehyde and acetic acid, they actually share that exact same CH2O empirical base, even though their real-world properties are completely different. It's like building different houses with the exact same type of brick.
And this setup brilliantly shows how matter behaves when we analyze these things. Because of the law of conservation of matter, atoms are never created or destroyed, they just rearrange and form new bonds. We have a massive advantage. This conservation means if we take an unknown compound and totally break it apart, the mass of the elements we recover will perfectly match the mass in the original compound. That gives us the hard, measurable data we need to figure out these exact formulas.
Which brings us to part 3, the four-step solution. Okay, so the million-dollar question. How do we actually calculate this simplest ratio from raw, messy lab data? Well, we use the ultimate chemist's cheat code. It's a 4-step rhyme that makes the math impossible to forget. Ready? Percent to mass, mass to mole, divide by small, multiply till whole. Seriously, sear that into your brain. If you remember that rhyme, you can crack literally any empirical formula problem they throw at you.
Let's break that down into actual steps. Step 1, percent to mass. We use a neat little trick called the rule of 100. By just pretending we have exactly a 100-gram sample, those abstract percentages instantly become workable grams. Easy. Step 2, mass to mole. We just grab atomic weights from the periodic table to convert those grams into moles, which lets us compare the actual number of atoms. Step 3, divide by small. We normalize everything by dividing all our mole values by the smallest mole value we just found. And step 4, multiply till whole. Because obviously we can't have half an atom in a chemical formula, we multiply our ratios by a whole number until every single one is a clean integer.
Let's put this into practice with a real-world example, ascorbic acid, aka vitamin C. So lab data says it's 40.92% carbon, 4.58% hydrogen, and 54.50% oxygen. Applying our 100-gram rule, those percentages flip straight to grams. You can see that right there in the first column. Next, we divide by the atomic mass of each element to get our moles. Carbon becomes 3.407, hydrogen is 4.544, and oxygen sits at 3.406. Finally, we normalize. We divide all of those by our smallest value, which is that 3.406 from the oxygen. That drops our base ratio down to 1 carbon, 1.333 hydrogen, and 1 oxygen.
But hold up, we've got a bit of a problem. That 1.333 for hydrogen? Yeah, you can't have 1 1/3 hydrogen atoms in a molecule. That doesn't exist. So we hit step 4, multiply till whole. To fix that third, we just multiply everything by 3. 1 times 3 gives us 3 carbons. 1.333 times 3 gives us a nice, perfect 4 hydrogens, and 1 times 3 is 3 oxygens. Boom. There is your final, clean, whole number empirical formula for vitamin C, C3H4O3.
All right, part 4, finding the molecular formula. So now that we've got that empirical blueprint locked in, it's time to scale up and find the actual molecular structure. How do we do that? we look for a simple multiplier, which we call N. And to find N, it's super straightforward. You just take the true molecular mass of the compound, which chemists usually figure out using a fancy piece of tech called a mass spectrometer, and you divide it by the mass of that empirical formula we just calculated.
Let's apply this back to our vitamin C. If we add up the atomic masses of our C3H4O3 base, our empirical mass is roughly 88 atomic mass units. But lab spectrometry tells us the true, actual molecular mass of vitamin C is 176. So 176 divided by 88, that gives us a perfect multiplier of 2. We just take our empirical subscripts, multiply them by 2, and we've officially upgraded to our final molecular formula, C6H8O6. Pretty satisfying, right?
And finally, part 5, real-world combustion analysis.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to pull back the curtain and show you where we actually get this foundational mass data from in the first place. A super common technique is called combustion analysis. Picture this. We take an unknown hydrocarbon, weigh it perfectly, and literally burn it in a pure oxygen environment. During that intense reaction, all the carbon turns into CO2 gas, and all the hydrogen becomes water vapor. We channel those gases through these specialized traps that actually absorb the water and the CO2. By measuring exactly how much weight each trap gains, we know precisely how much of those gases were produced. Then, we just do a little reverse math to back-calculate the exact mass of carbon and hydrogen from our starting unknown sample. And once you have those starting masses, well, say it with me, mass to mole, divide by small, multiply till whole.
Now that you're armed with this analytical superpower, you're just looking at random chemicals anymore. You're literally decoding the fundamental ratios of the universe. Whether it's the sugar you put in your coffee, the vitamins you take, or the fuel in your gas tank, the whole shebang is governed by these elegant, simple numbers. So I'll leave you to ponder this. What other unknown compounds hiding in plain sight in your everyday life are just waiting to be broken down into their simplest, most beautiful chemical ratios? Keep questioning, keep calculating, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.